Hey, what's going on everyone? Greg here, and if you're like me, you've probably added a few pounds on during the holidays. It's a very busy time of the year, so maybe you're not hitting the gym as often as you would like to. There's also a lot of events and a lot of parties to go to, and at those events and at those parties are a lot of good food, and especially if you're at home for the holidays, all of those home-cooked meals, all of those cookies, everything you've been eating has probably just added on to a little bit more poundage than you're comfortable admitting. That's why so many people make New Year's resolutions. It's after all those events, after all that busy time, you finally just get to a point where you're feeling, okay, maybe I let myself go a little bit, and that's what makes a 2019 New Year's resolution so attractive in the first place. So for this video, for people making New Year's resolutions dedicated to losing weight, maybe improving your health a little bit, especially those people with an Apple Watch, I wanted to focus this video on losing weight, giving you some workout tips and just some other general advice for losing weight and using your Apple Watch to its maximum potential. And if you're new to the channel, if you didn't know it already, I've lost 100 pounds by using my Apple Watch, so this is a subject that I really feel strongly about. Okay, so let's get right into the video with my first bit of advice, and that is setting a good activity ring goal. So one of the most important parts about the health and fitness aspect of the Apple Watch is filling out your 3 rings every day. There's a ring for activity, there's a ring for exercise, and there is a standing ring. For that first ring, that activity ring, is basically a movement goal. So my biggest tip for setting activity rings is to set a comfortable goal. You don't want to set a goal that's going to be too low. If you set your calorie limit to say 100 active calories a day, that's relatively a low figure, and you're probably going to hit it every day. And although you might feel good about hitting that goal, that's not really a good goal to strive for if you're trying to get a little bit more active in the new year. Even though if you want to fill those rings out every day, and even if you plan to move more, by setting such a low goal, you're not really using the Apple Watch's activity tracker to its benefit. Now, with that being said, you also don't want to set your activity goal too high. If you're not hitting your goals every day, that's going to be really, really discouraging. And if you set an unrealistic goal, if you're constantly getting discouraged, you're just not even going to bother with the activity tracking in the first place. So you want to set a comfortable goal, and when you first set up your Apple Watch, Apple will actually offer you some goals that they think are right around the ballpark for what you should be hitting. Now, the great thing about the Apple Watch is if you're constantly hitting those goals every day and every week, it's going to suggest that you move your movement score up a little bit. And the inverse is also true. If you're not hitting your goals every day, the Apple Watch is going to recommend that you move your movement goal down a little bit. So that will help you find a perfect balance for your movement score. Another important ring to fill every day is that stand ring. That is the blue circle that you find on your Apple Watch. Now, although I think this is probably the most annoying ring to fill every day because maybe you're sitting down, you're working a lot, maybe you don't want to take the minute to stand up and move around. Now, I actually find this ring a little bit more helpful than most people because I constantly sit at my desk all the time, and I really like the alerts telling me to get up and move around a little bit. And getting up and moving around just a little bit every hour, those little small increments can add up over a while. But more importantly, I would recommend you try and fill your exercise ring every day. The exercise ring is, of course, the green ring on your Apple Watch. Now, the exercise ring is set to 30 minutes of more high-intensity workouts, and the Apple Watch will calculate this activity basically if you're just doing something that's more intensive than a regular walk. And although the exercise ring is really great for helping you lose weight, I also find that it adds some other added benefits. 30 minutes of exercise a day is known to help out with other things like your overall mood and helping fight depression. So although this is a great way to lose weight by making sure you fill your exercise ring every day, it's also really good for just your general overall well-being. Filling your rings is one of the most important aspects about keeping track of your activity with your Apple Watch. And one of the easiest ways to make sure you get this done is to switch over to an activity watch face. That way, every time you look at your Apple Watch, you can always see your activity ring. If you don't like the activity watch faces that Apple offers, you can also set up any other watch face as long as you add an activity complication to that watch face. As long as you can just see that ring throughout the day as you're constantly looking at your Apple Watch, to have that constant reminder is a real big benefit to make sure you fill your rings. Another important aspect I want to talk about when you're using your Apple Watch to track your activity is just to take small steps. In fact, the reason why I lost a majority of my weight using my Apple Watch was just by going on walks. So for me, if I have a 15-minute break at work, instead of just sitting there at my desk, I'll just go on a short little walk. And say you have 2 breaks a day and you do that twice a day, that is a 30-minute walk, and those walks start to add up after a while. I really just wanted to drive that home. You don't have to start running or lifting weights on day one. If you just want to start off simply, all you have to do is just go on some short walks or something like that, just something little to get your body moving, and that will really go a long way in the long term. Now, another thing you're going to want to do when you're using your Apple Watch is to make sure you're logging your workouts. Although Apple added automatic workout detection with Watch watchOS 5, it's still not perfect. You're going to want to make sure you manually start any workouts you're doing manually in the workout app. And the reason why this is so important is that workouts give you a more accurate reading of your workout data. That's going to give you more accurate calorie tracking as well as more accurate heart rate tracking. So you'll definitely want to make sure you're always turning on that workout feature because you definitely want to be getting credit for your workouts with the Apple Watch. Now with those workouts, you'll also want to go into the Apple Watch app on your iPhone and look into workout metrics. You can customize what you see, so you can customize things like duration, active calories, total calories, and heart rate. So you can set what's important to you and the kind of stats and activity that you want to track. If you're doing any sort of running, you might also want to go ahead and set some pace alerts. If you set a pace alert with your Apple Watch, if you're going for a run and say you're falling behind your normal run time, the Apple Watch will actually ding you and tell you, hey, pick it up a little bit. Or even if you're ahead of schedule, if you're running a little faster than usual, the Apple Watch will be able to relay that information for you. And as someone who has picked up running, I do find that to be really helpful information. Now, as you're doing these workouts, especially if you're a runner or a cycler, and if you're going outdoors a lot, you might also want to turn on fall detection. So if you trip, for example, while you're out on a run and you really bust up your leg, having the ability to contact emergency services could be a potential lifesaver. Now, while you're working out, you might also want to take advantage of one of my favorite features about owning an Apple Watch, and that is the music playback option on your Apple Watch. Now, I recommend that most people make a workout playlist for their Apple Watch. You can sync playlists by going directly into the Apple Watch app and going into the music settings. Even if you don't have a cellular version of the Apple Watch, you can load music directly onto your Apple Watch. If you have the Series 4 Apple Watch, you have 16 gigabytes of memory to work with. You'll also want a pair of Bluetooth earbuds or headphones. I really personally recommend the AirPods for working out. Ever since the AirPods were first released, I've been using them for running, and I really find that not having a wire in between the earbuds really helps me work out a lot better. So for example, I used to have a pair of Jaybirds, and when I would run, that wire would constantly be moving back and forth and sending vibrations all up my ear canal. So AirPods with not having any wires just works really well. They've never fallen out in any sort of activity I've done. And although Apple doesn't advertise the AirPods as being water resistant, I've never had them damaged from sweat or rain as well. But even though I recommend AirPods, if you have another favorite pair of Bluetooth headphones or earbuds that you like to use, those will just work fine. Also, if you have a cellular version of the Apple Watch, you can also stream music directly from Apple Music, so you don't have to set a playlist in advance. And if music isn't your thing, watchOS 5 added the ability to listen to podcasts as well. I am a big podcast listener and I love to listen to podcasts on my runs. And if you're not a podcast fan, maybe you want to listen to audiobooks, you can also download the Audible app, and you can download Audible books directly onto your Apple Watch and listen to them without your phone as well. Now, another thing I really like with watchOS 5 is the ability to share activity with your friends. I find it really motivating to see the activity of all of my friends, to see how far along they are moving their activity ring throughout the day. So if you're being a little lazy, if you're slacking off, if your activity rings aren't full, if you go and check the activity app, you see that your friends are almost full, filling their rings. It might motivate you to get up off your butt and move around a little bit. And if you want to take that to the next level, you can also use the compete feature with the Apple Watch. Now, this really motivates you because it sets a 7-day workout competition between you and your friend. And that works by basically giving you and your friend a score every day for the amount of activity you did. And at the end of that 7-day competition, it gives an overall score and crowns a winner. It even gives a medal to whoever won that competition. And I find that to be really motivating, especially when my friend Anthony is constantly filling his rings and I'm up late and it's 11 o'clock and I just want to make sure that I beat him, make sure that I score more points than him. I'll go out on a run just to make sure that I'm getting more activity than him. So if you're a super competitive person, if you have a friend who also has an Apple Watch who also wants to stay healthy, that is a really nice feature and I definitely recommend you try it out. Okay, and for my last tip about losing weight with your Apple Watch, my last tip really doesn't have much to do with the inbuilt apps and activity tracker on the Apple Watch, but I do find it really important, and that is to get a calorie tracker. Now, any sort of calorie tracker will do. My favorite is MyFitnessPal. Not only is this a free way to monitor the calories that you eat in a day, it also comes with a really great Apple Watch app. Calorie tracking is just super important, and it really is one of the most important steps about losing weight. So as you're moving around more with your Apple Watch, as you start to hit those plateaus, or if you want to super jumpstart your weight loss into 2019, I would really recommend counting your calories as well. Because even if you become the most active person in the world with your Apple Watch, if you're still eating more calories than you burn, you're gonna still end up gaining weight. And the most important thing I can tell you guys is not to get discouraged if you don't fill in your rings every day, or maybe you have a bad day where you eat too much food. This is about making a positive life change, and as long as you stick to the overall basic tenets of trying to fill your activity ring, trying to count your calories better, I believe overall in the long-term goal, you will start to lose weight. You will start to be a healthier person. So if you're interested in losing weight with the Apple Watch, if you're interested in being a healthier person, I really hope that these tips have helped you. If you like the video, guys, make sure you give it a like. If you want to see more from my channel, make sure you're subscribed. If you have any questions about losing weight with your Apple Watch, if you want to start losing weight, if you have any other questions you want to ask me in the comments below, feel free to do so. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.